For generations, Miami has been a haven for those fleeing communist tyranny in South Africa. I mean, if you take a look at what's going on in parts of South Africa, look at South Africa, what's going on. Look at South America, what's going on. You know, I'm not going to, we have a G20 meeting in South Africa. South Africa shouldn't even be in the Gs anymore because what's happened there is bad. I'm not going. I told them I'm not going. I'm not going to represent our country there. It shouldn't be there. Take a look at what's happening in different parts of South America. Take a look at what's happening in different parts of the world.
2 days earlier, President Trump said Miami had long been a haven for those fleeing communist tyranny in South Africa, in what appeared to be a reference to South America, at which point the president appeared to double down and suggested South Africa should not be in the G20 at all. On Friday, a post saying it was a total disgrace that the G20 would be held in South Africa and that Afrikaners, whom he pointed out descended from Dutch, French and German immigrants, were being killed and slaughtered and that their land and farms were being illegally confiscated. While crime is a widely recognized problem affecting all race groups, President Trump has honed in on attacks against Afrikaners, while any land acquisition in South Africa must follow an established and exceptional legal framework. Sherman Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.
President Trump is denying reports that he used vulgar language to describe some places as expletive whole countries. But as Weijia Jiang reports, people who were inside that room at the time say that the reports are true, and the uproar surrounding the comments is coming from members of both political parties.
Because of us.
Reaction to alleged comments made by President Trump were swift and strong from Democrats and Republicans.
The statements of the president are reprehensible, they're racist, they're totally incorrect.
This remark by the president of the United States smacks of blatant racism.
During a meeting in the Oval Office Thursday, Senator Dick Durbin proposed restoring protections for immigrants from Haiti, several African countries, and El Salvador as part of an immigration package. The president reportedly interrupted Durbin and said, "Why do we want all these people from expletive whole countries here? We should bring in more people from places like Norway."
I can't defend it. I don't think anybody can. I don't know where you wanted to go with it.
The president denied the reports on Twitter. He wrote, "The language used by me at the DACA meeting was tough, but this was not the language used. What was really tough was the outlandish proposal made, a big setback for DACA."
To no surprise, the president started tweeting this morning denying that he used those words. It is not true. He said these hate-filled things, and he said them repeatedly.
The Haitian government called the president's comments racist.
Good morning, Trump America. If ever you would want to leave your so beautiful and perfect country and come to a real shithole country in Africa, we would like to invite you to come to shithole Namibia, one of the best shithole countries out there. No, really, we actually have a beautiful underground lake that even looks just like a shithole, Lake Oshikoto. Actually, Namibia is such a shithole country that we converted about 42% of it into various conservation areas where wild shithole animals can roam freely. Not only is our country a shithole place, even our elephants are highly qualified to dump large amounts of shit everywhere in our wide open shithole country. Our desert is such a shithole of a place, believe me, that there hasn't been any proper rain in the last couple of million years, which makes it the oldest shithole desert in the world. But thanks to you not caring about global warming, this could soon end, and we could get lots of rain while the rest of the shithole countries out there burn or freeze off completely. It's really tough out here, but shithole Namibia has over 300 days of sunshine, and our lodges are situated in such a way that one has the perfect view over this beautiful shithole, even while taking a shit. So you're more than welcome to visit Africa's #1 shithole country, known to your president as Nambia.
Yikes. As we speak, Donald Trump is conducting another disastrous Oval Office meeting with a foreign leader that makes the one that he had with Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine look like a cakewalk in comparison. As we speak, Trump is ranting and raving and hurling absurd accusations at the president of South Africa.
He was saying, even in the parliament, and a small minority party which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
No, nobody can
take land. And then when they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is quite...
Nothing happens.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately through criminal activity, are not only white people. The majority of them are black people.
Mr. President, decide what will it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the President. It's for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer. It will be.
My President will respond to you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on around the quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
Never happened to never forget. 9/11 families blast Trump for warm embrace of Saudi officials.
Well, I collected $7 trillion when I went to the Middle East. They gave me $7 trillion. He's a fraud. He's a felon. He's a criminal. He's a liar. He didn't get $7 trillion. He didn't get any money. He's done 0 deals in 90 days. Okay. Qatar doesn't have that amount of money. Their annual GDP is $200 billion. Where are they going to give $1.2 trillion to him? The United Arab Emirates' entire GDP is $400 billion. They don't have that type of money. Even though Donald Trump's impressed by their gold palaces, they don't have that kind of money. Meanwhile, while Donald Trump praises authoritarians in the Middle East, people who fund Hamas, and who funded the 9/11 hijackers.
The latest and the greatest of our planes and just about everything else. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun and very interesting. But I just want to thank you for the friendship, for the long-time friendship. And again, long before any of this stuff, we just liked each other. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. But we always had a very special relationship. And we came from Saudi Arabia, where we have another great man over there that's a friend of yours. And you two guys get along so well and like each other. You sort of remind me a little bit of each other, if you want to know the truth. They're both tall, handsome guys that happen to be very smart. But he's also a very special guy, and it's good to see all the relationships forming in the Middle East, because the Middle East is really being talked about all over the world, and we're having a lot to do with it. We're helping a lot, but they're doing a tremendous job. So I just want to thank everybody very much for being here. I want to thank the media. The media has been very fair, actually, and it's a great honor to be with you. This is, you take a look at this room. This room is the real deal. That's called white marble. It's very hard to buy. Believe me, I know very well, because you try to buy it, you can't buy it. And you just take a look at what you have here. It's been incredible what you've been able to build as a nation. And we're with you all the way, and you know that.
Human Rights Watch claims Saudi authorities have killed hundreds of Ethiopian migrants crossing the border from Yemen. CNN's Salma Abdelaziz has details.
A deeply disturbing report released on Monday by Human Rights Watch alleges that Saudi border guards killed at least hundreds of Ethiopian migrants and asylum seekers attempting to cross the border from Yemen into Saudi Arabia between March of 2022 and June of this year. The accounts are absolutely harrowing. More than 24 individuals describing explosive incidences, so the use of rockets, mortar fire, gunfire by Saudi border guards. Some survivors describing Saudi border guards asking them which limb they would prefer to be shot before shooting them at close range. To give you an understanding of just how deadly these crossings are.
All right, so a new report from the group Human Rights Watch claims that Saudi Arabia border guards killed hundreds of Ethiopian migrants, including women and children, as they attempted to cross into the country from Yemen. One woman interviewed by the group described her experience after guards allegedly opened fire on a group of migrants, saying, quote, "They fired on us like rain." A Saudi government source told CBS News the allegations are unfounded. So joining us now is Max Abrams. He's a professor of international relations at Northeastern University. Thanks for joining us. This is part of a kind of like a 15-month period of time. This is that the report is based on. And the firing on migrants is one thing and killing people, but there are other really kind of gruesome atrocities that are also being described by some of these migrants. The Saudi government has dismissed the report as inaccurate. Can you explain what the current migrant policy is for those crossing into Saudi Arabia from Yemen? And if African migrants are the only groups reporting these kinds of abuses?
The current policy seems to be complete chaos. It's true that this huge report came out just yesterday from Human Rights Watch, and I find it to be credible and extremely disturbing. But this is not a one-off incident. This has been a long-term, major problem from Ethiopia. Inside of Saudi Arabia, there are almost 1 million Ethiopians, and they're treated terribly. Hundreds of thousands, so not just thousands, but hundreds of thousands of Africans have been rounded up from Saudi Arabia and returned against their will. This also isn't just sort of rogue actors who, have committed an atrocity. This appears to be part of the government's actual policy in the sense that there are major detention centers and have been for years inside the country where, thousands, tens of thousands of Ethiopians have languished, they've been beaten, they've been tortured, and they've been killed. The reason why Yemen is involved in this story is because it's part of the major, so-called Eastern Corridor, Eastern Route, or Yemen Route it's called, where Ethiopians, in part because they've been trying to escape the civil war, there's conflict, there's poverty, there are all sorts of major problems in their country, they have been traveling up through Yemen and then trying to get across the border into Saudi Arabia. There are also detention centers in Yemen. And so there's culpability by the Houthi actors in Yemen, but mostly this story rightly focuses on the Saudi abuses.
U.S. knew of Saudi forces killing migrants, but kept quiet. Report.
Here's a summary of the article.
The United States has been aware of Saudi security forces killing Ethiopian migrants since the fall of 2022, but kept quiet about the issue, the New York Times reported Saturday, after a Human Rights Watch report last week exposed the killings on the Saudi border. Human Rights Watch said border guards in Saudi Arabia have fired machine guns and launched mortars at Ethiopians trying to cross into Saudi territory from Yemen, likely killing hundreds and, possibly thousands, of the unarmed migrants in recent years, in a report that cited eyewitnesses and images that showed dead bodies and burial sites on migrant routes. The killings came up while U.S. President Joe Biden's administration was trying to squash past troubles in bilateral relations with the Saudis and advance a potential normalization deal between Saudi Arabia and Israel, a factor that potentially muted the White House response, the New York Times reported. Deputy U.S. Representative to the UN Richard Mills vaguely mentioned the issue at the meeting, stating, "We remain concerned by alleged abuses against migrants on the border with Saudi Arabia." Washington has since urged a thorough and transparent investigation into the allegations, which were dismissed by a Saudi government source who spoke to AFP.
We love Saudi Arabia. We love you more.
We love Saudi Arabia. The king is my friend, the crown prince is my friend, who's now the prime minister, crown prince, and everything else. And he deserves to be, but they're great friends of mine and they're great people. And it's an honor to have so many Saudis. I just spoke to Yasser and I said, we have so many Saudis today. It's so nice to see that. They love us and we love them, and it's an honor to have you all. Thank you very much.
Trump disgraces our military.
by using our men and women in uniform as mercenaries, serving the interests of multinational corporations like ExxonMobil and foreign countries like Saudi Arabia. Now, for political reasons, he claims he is against so-called endless wars, but he supports and is carrying out 19th and 20th century style naked imperialism.
We love Saudi Arabia. We love you more.
How do Arab nations address human rights and civil liberties? Imagine living in a place where your ability to speak your mind or practice your religion could land you in trouble. That's the reality in many Arab countries in Southwest Asia. These nations have diverse ways of handling human rights and civil liberties, but most face serious challenges. In some countries like Saudi Arabia, the government keeps a tight grip on political expression. People cannot openly criticize leaders or government policies without risking arrest or punishment. The justice system often lacks fairness, and the country executes many people each year, including minors.
African labor unions are calling out Saudi Arabia over the exploitation and mistreatment of Africans in their country. We've talked about how specifically in certain Arab countries, they have this law that prohibits the foreigners from having basic human rights. They'll take away their passports when they reach there. It's like your employer is now your owner and you have no say, you have no right. If you want to leave that employee, you can't because they hold your passport and they will send you to jail. You can't even go back to your country because they have full access to your documentations and they won't allow you to move from point A to point B. This has been discussed for so long, but it seems like no one is listening. But at least now African labor unions are calling out Saudi Arabia. According to reports, African labor unions are urging the International Labour Organization to rein in Saudi Arabia for continual violation of foreign workers' rights in the country. The union made a joint submission to the International Labour Organization calling for a commission of inquiry into labor rights in the kingdom, citing racial mistreatment of foreign workers, especially from Africa. The condition that our people are working in and living in is just horrendous. It's mind-boggling how these people believe that it's okay to treat a fellow human being like that. It almost makes you believe that they don't see us as human beings. For them to treat us this badly, the treatment the employees receive is unfathomable. It's honestly shocking to realize that not much is being done to protect these people. We've talked about how they're not only mistreated, but they're getting unalived as well for the silliest thing, for the smallest thing. Hello fam, welcome back to the African Diaspora News channel. Today's report comes from Kenya. It has been reported that about 85 Kenyan women have died in just 3 months in Saudi Arabia and other parts of the Gulf. Truly alarming. And what's worse is all of their reports show that they died because of cardiac arrest. All of them. 85 women in the same region die from the same cause. And it's not anything that is contagious. They didn't get the monkeypox. They didn't get COVID. It was cardiac arrest. They truly want us to believe that's the case. I don't believe it, and I know a lot of people, most people won't buy this, but our governments will be quiet about it, so they'll continue. They'll continue abusing their employees, they'll continue abusing our girls, and they'll continue sending us their bodies, and nothing is going to happen to them. The International Labour Organization should respond swiftly. It took too long, to be honest, 2025, and we're still talking about treating other human beings with dignity. And we're asking for equality, but that's not happening. And there was a time where African countries started taking matters into their own hands and banning their own people from going to these countries because of the treatment they were receiving. But now it's open again and it's business as usual, mistreatment as usual, discrimination as usual.